Hey YouTube, I'm on here again because as the Lord is dealing with me, He's dropping it in my spirit to share with you. I know that there are people who are coming on here that I'm related to and some that aren't. There's only a couple people now, but I know in the future there will be many. So the Lord had just dropped it in my spirit. He will reveal things to you like that about how I'm still dealing with unforgiveness. Um, and came across, I asked Google, and Google gave me this Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. And it says, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 32. It's Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. Now, I just wanted to say this, that it is not easy to forgive at times. Sometimes, I'll give you an example, because I don't think this person that did this will get on here, and it's important that the person that did this to me does not hear it, because then I feel like that's sort of provocative and I'm not being tenderhearted or kind. I'm trying to do God's job for him. So, and I'm not gossiping, I'm just giving you an example. One of my children passed away, and then another. I have 3 that died. I had 8, now I have 5. One died when he was a baby, and then the other one died in 2020 of suicide, and then the other one died of a drug overdose in March of 2023. So I get on this prayer line every Friday, and her mother runs the prayer line. And she got on and she made a special, she never comes on the prayer line. And she made a special trip to come onto the prayer line to say this. I just think, this is her words exactly, I just think that some people have done so many bad things, and this is why a lot of bad things are happening to people, like their children, just a lot of bad. And she made that special, people dying, and she made that special little trip to get on the prayer line to call in and say that. And it was just so ugly, and it just hurt so bad. And me, most of the time, I'm a very stoic person, so she didn't get my tears. She wouldn't see them anyway. We were on the prayer line, and even the way I just said that she didn't get my tears just shows you this deep-seated hurt that's in there. And I was just praying, Lord, please help me to forgive her. As I was just up here watching something, Lord, please. So I just wanted to share this with you. I don't know if I'm going to share it on YouTube, that forgiveness is so important. It's so very important that you forgive. And if you have a problem, like I have had, you need to come truthfully before the Lord. First of all, you're not going to hide anything from the Lord. It's all public knowledge, as they say, to God, about the way life is, because everything is on camera. It's all, he knows your innermost parts. The word of God says he judges you by your heart. Your thoughts, your heart. So you can't hide anything from him anyway. You can't dress it up to be pretty. He knows exactly what you're thinking. And he's going to judge you by your, do you truly want to get rid of that? Or are you a right fighter and you want to fight? And are you looking for that opportunity time that opportune time to pounce on that person that wronged you? Or are you holding on to it because you feel like they do not deserve your forgiveness? See, the Lord really knows. And I had to be honest with God just a moment ago. I don't want to forgive her because that was an ugly thing for her to, and she, other things. And I still have it in my spirit. And I just pray that, when those things come up, because something like that, there's a man he passed away, but he had a near-death experience. And he actually, what we call death, he died, but his spirit did not die. So they brought him back to life. He had an aneurysm. He was an older man, and he gave his testimony about how Christ met him in hell for those 20 minutes that what our human belief of death is. He did. So there's a point of no return when it comes to death, from what his explanation, and I actually believe that to be true too. Like there's a point of no turning back. And so a lot of people who say, yes, I died, some people are, like what we scientifically explain as death. Your heart stops, no brain activity, but then they start the compressions and things start working again in your body. But God works on things on levels we'll never understand unless he would like for us to understand it. But anyway, he physically died, and the Lord met him in hell, and he was a minister. And he said, well, why did I have to come here, Lord? And he was like, you harbored unforgiveness in your heart for someone. And he didn't even remember, but it was still there. And it was the way he was behaving toward, I guess it was just there. I'll just say that, because there's parts of that video I can't remember. And it was the unforgiveness had settled in his system. Now, unforgiveness can take root in your body, in your spirit, man. And it can really get deep. And you will forget about that person. You'll call yourself forgetting about that person because you'll say, I won't deal with them. Now, I'm not saying that you have to deal with somebody who constantly hurts you. What I'm saying is you have to forgive them and even love them by praying for them. Love them. You have to love them. This is what the Word of God says. You cannot make it to the Master's house with unforgiveness in your spirit. Now, the Lord understands that we are human beings and we're dealing with human emotions. And guess what? He himself walked on this earth with those same human emotions. The Lord understands that we are imperfect. So with your when you come and petition your petitions before him, Lord, I have this unforgiveness. You remember when they did that? Did you remember that? And perhaps he doesn't, because he cast it into the person might have got on their knees and begged for forgiveness. And the Word of God says, as far as the east is from the west, so far are your iniquities. When you come before him in righteousness, when you ask him for forgiveness. So what I'm trying to say is, you must ask God to help you with this unforgiveness. Everybody walking through life has unforgiveness in their spirit. And guess what? We have done others bad, and we need to be forgiven. We have hurt others. We need to be forgiven. And the Bible also, the Word of God also says, why would we, you want forgiveness from God, but you're not forgiving your brother. We are saying, well, Lord, you forgave us, we're expecting our forgiveness from God, but we can't give it to our brothers who we can see. It's hard to forgive deep hurts like that, or anything. Some people, in their childhood, um, they've been hurt, or so, and it is so seated deep rooted deep inside, and these are horrible things, and the Lord is looking, and he sees what happened, and he understands that was a deep pain. But come before him, and guess what? You're going to be a whole person once you forgive. That unforgiveness, it keeps you from growing as a whole woman or man in God. And it also is a weight that bears you down, weights you down. The Lord desperately wants to bless us. And when you have this sin in your spirit, which is, we're speaking right now, I'm speaking of unforgiveness. It is a sin. When you have this unforgiveness in your spirit, you're not going to be blessed, because you're still sinning. You're still thinking, I want to set that person straight. You're not allowing God to fight it for you. He said he's going to avenge us. And sometimes vengeance doesn't, the Lord's vengeance doesn't look like what we in our human will oh, get him, Lord, get him, destroy him. We want bad, and that's still us using, trying to make vengeance ours, or trying to make the Lord do what we want him to do. That's still sinning when we're wishing bad on somebody. Sometimes the Lord takes that